Welcome to our 5 on 5. Please be joined today by Nataki Garrett, the incoming Artistic Director for Oregon Shakespeare Festival. Thanks so much for being here. Great to meet you.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
It's a pleasure. So you literally just came into town yesterday.
I just landed at Medford Airport at noon yesterday.
Okay, barely 24 hours. Appreciate you coming in. So you're working with Bill Rausch now, and we'll get to kind of how that's working for the next few months. But what attracted you to OSF in the first place?
Well, I've known about OSF for a number of years. I remember, I've known Bill for 17 years, and I remember when Bill got the job 12 years ago and being really excited for him about the possibilities at OSF. That's when OSF first came into my mind. In the last 12 years, I've watched a number of my friends, a number of my artistic colleagues grow their careers through OSF. As far as I was concerned, OSF was the place to be. And then, of course, when Bill announced, I thought, oh, well, I mean, I have to apply. Who knows what's going to happen, but I have to go ahead and give it a try. So what you're witnessing is the culmination of a dream come true. It's a miracle.
That's fantastic.
Amazing.
That's great. So obviously all those connections and having known Bill for 17 years, that's awesome. So have you come up and seen productions already? I mean, you have that history with OSF as well?
I believe my mother said we came up here once when I was a kid. I do not remember that, but I do remember in 2005, I came up here with a cohort of people from the TCG, the Theater Communications Group. I've been up here a few times. My mother and I would sort of decide on a random weekend, why don't we drive up to OSF and see what's happening up there? So we've been up here a few times, and then of course in the last few years professionally, I've been up here a little bit more.
Okay, so yeah, give us a little background. So you're a West Coaster, you're drive away, if you will. So where are you from, and how did you get into this as a career?
So I was born in DC, but I was raised in the Bay Area, and initially, I thought I was going to be a dancer. I remember watching Swan Lake when I was 4 years old, watching the little ballerinas twirl around. My mother said the next day I asked for a ballet class. And so for years, I thought that's what I was going to do, is be a dancer. And in high school, something shifted, and a friend of mine was like, why don't you come and hang out with us? We're the Producers Club. And that was it. I was bit by the theater bug, and I've been doing it ever since. I lived in LA for 17 years. I was the Associate Artistic Director and the Associate Dean at CalArts School of Theater and CalArts Center for New Performance. And then I moved to the Denver Center to be their Associate Artistic Director and then act as their interim Artistic Director for the 18-month transition they had in leadership.
Excellent.
So that's where I'm coming from.
Okay, very good. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll have much more in just a moment.
Great.
Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Nataki Garrett, the incoming OSF Artistic Director, Oregon Shakespeare Festival, of course. So you've known Bill Rausch, the current Artistic Director, for 17 years. You said it. You guys are going to get to work together for the next 4 months or so. What's that relationship going to be like?
Well, Bill has developed some really important systems and styles and ways of doing the work at OSF that I really need to learn, plus his relationships with the local community. He's going to provide an introduction for me to Ashland and the wonderful people here who make this community work, but also who steward the organization. And that's what we're going to focus on for these next 4 months.
Sure, okay. And so, yeah, I don't know if I'm asking a style question, but how are you going to put your vision on OSF, your personal stamp on OSF? And maybe we don't know what that looks like, but how will that change, if you will?
Well, I don't know how, so for me, what's at the center of Oregon Shakespeare Festival is Shakespeare, and I'm excited and driven by the revolutionary spirit of Shakespeare and his ability to bring us to different places and introduce us to new ideas and invent new words, and his tenacity of spirit. And that's the basic, the sort of center of what the new work at OSF has been about, what the new ideas and generating and developing new work has been about. And I want to continue in some of that work. I also want to deepen our country's connection to Shakespeare by developing a platform that will allow us to reach a wider audience. And I'm still in the thought process, trying to figure out what that exactly that's going to be and how to do it. But what I'm interested in is making sure that OSF remains a primary delivery system for Shakespeare, not just for those of us who live on the West Coast, but for the United States.
Excellent. Well, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Stay with us. We'll be right back.